We're here today on a status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Nicole Brooks is my permanency specialist. We are present ready.
Bill Taylor representing the child's mother, Andrea Alanes. She is present. I'm present. We're ready. If it helps speed things up a little today, this morning, Your Honor, I did sign off on the proposed agreed order, but it was late yesterday after I finally talked to my client and did that. So I doubt that it's caught up with everybody yet.
Okay.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of Juan Montez. I have not had contact with my client, but I am here and ready to proceed with the status hearing.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of Beto.
All right, then. Mr. Taylor, I understand that you're in agreement, but since we don't have the father present, we'll go ahead and just do a quick review and see where we stand with our service plans. So I'm guessing Ms. Brooks, what do we have new?
So I have not been able to contact Mr. Montez at all. I've tried. We've gone to the house of the address that was provided by mom where she thought he might be staying. He's not there. We did get an answer at the door, and we were told he more than likely would not contact us. He doesn't want anything to do with us. I do know a couple weeks ago, mom ran into him and he told her the same exact thing. He's laying low under the radar, does not want any contact with us, will not answer us. As far as Miss Andrea, I have sent her to drug screen since the Adversary. I've sent her twice on 8/31 and 9/20. Both tested, come back positive for methamphetamine, so we have not started visits for her yet.
One was hair, one was UA, or?
The hair follicle was done at birth by investigations. The ones I sent her for were UA.
Okay. All right, what about our service plans?
On her service plan, she has already got her counseling started. She has looked for an NA group, and I believe she's found one at this point. She is getting set up for her OSAR right now. She has started her parenting classes. We're getting ready to get her set up for a psychosocial with her therapist, and she's currently looking for a job.
Okay.
And dad was asked to work the same services: drug testing, stability, parenting classes, psychosocial counseling, and his OSAR.
All right. And did mother sign her service plan?
She did.
Okay. And I assume father has not.
No, he has not, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Mr. Taylor?
I think it's kind of notable and commendable the drop in the hair follicle results from the first drug test to the one in, I believe, August. 159,000 to drop down to 891. I think that's pretty commendable. She is actively working her service plan even before the status hearing. And I think her attitude is pretty good, pretty cooperative, and I really don't have anything to add, John.
So let me just clarify, Mr. Taylor. I want to make sure we're talking apples and apples and apples and not apples and oranges. There was a hair follicle done essentially at time of removal. Have we done another hair follicle since then, Ms. Brooks?
No, ma'am, we haven't. It hasn't been 90 days since her last one. We've only done UAs since the hair follicle.
Okay, so the levels that we're talking about, we've got levels on a hair test, but then we've got UA levels, which are measured differently.
Yes.
Okay. I have the UAs in front of me. Was the second UA lower than the first?
Yes, and it was.
Okay. The 817 says it's a hair follicle. Says it was a hair.
That was at removal, sir.
No, that was the big one. Okay.
Okay, but
my mistake. Yes.
Second UA was lower. So okay.
Yes,
all right. That's good.
It was significantly lower, Judge. And she really has stepped up and shown she wants to work her services and be reunified with her child.
Okay, Ms. Alanis, that's what we need. You're off to a good start. So, I just encourage you to get these things going, and all these things are designed to help you. They're not designed to punish you. They're designed to help you.
Yes, ma'am. And that's one thing that I've learned, at first I didn't see it that way, but now I see it as it's now going to be beneficial to me in the long run to be a better mom for my son and be just in general a better person. I'm getting help in places that I didn't know I needed help in, or I wasn't aware I could get help in.
Okay, well, just keep doing what you're doing, and this can have a happy ending.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Sapien.
Nothing much to add, Judge. If anyone hears that Mr. Montez has changed his mind about participating, please let me know.
When was the last UA done?
It was on 9/20, Judge.
Okay.
And Ms. Brooks, if you could, when you get a chance, get those recent drug screens sent to be filed.
I sent them yesterday when I got the second one back, so they should be coming through.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. And Ms. Zavala.
Beto's doing well. He's not as fussy as he was before, and eating good. He's in a fictive kin placement, and I recommend that placement continue.
Right. Okay, so what we're going to do, Ms. Alanis, is for today, we're going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'm going to continue Beto's placement. I'm going to order these service plans as an order of the court. And what that means is that, it's now like any court order. I do expect you to abide by it. And the result of that is that there's consequences if you don't complete your services. So you're off to a very good start. So I'm not saying this to you to, rain on this parade, but I just have to tell you these things. I'm required by law to tell you some things. So failure to work your services could mean Beto doesn't come home. In worst case, it could mean termination of your parental rights. So do you understand those things?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, with respect to your visitation, what we need is a clean UA. And I'm hoping this next test, which will probably, pop up in the next few weeks, will be negative. And if it is, then we'll start right away. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, then. I will see you back for your next hearing, February 6th of 2024. Today on and that'll be on a non-conducted docket through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. Ms. Taylor's making our record this morning. All right, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Christina Hunter is my permanency specialist, and we are present ready on.
Brooks Barfield, attorney for Tina Martinez at ad litem.
Guardian, Joel Jackson, guardian ad litem for the mother, present ready.
Jason Sabella on behalf of the kids, and I may have missed it, Your Honor, but are we also doing Camden?
Yes, I'm sorry. I need to call that case as well. My apologies. And I need to let Mr. Hill in. Just a minute.
Judge, I'm ready. I'm here representing Kaim Daniel. Judge, I haven't had any conversations with him or any contact with him. I was not provided any contact information, and he has not contacted me. So I'm ready, but not really.
Okay. All right. Then Ms. Hunter, what? I'm sorry. I think we got everybody else, correct? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Hunter, what do we have new?
Tina has already seen her family plan. She's signed off with it, and so has Mr. Jackson. She's actually already been engaging with services. She's really got a fire behind her to really get things going, and I'm very proud of her for that. She's participating currently in her counseling. She's got her appointment set up for her rational behavior therapy class. She's already speaking with family support services for the domestic violence support groups. She's really on it, Your Honor. As far as the kiddos are concerned, they're all doing really well. I went and saw actually all three of them on Friday and this morning. Well, not this morning, but yesterday. Sorry, I'm tired. But the Elizabeth, they did do a little bit of a reduction in her formula because she's been gaining too much weight too quickly. So she's currently on 7 ounces instead of 8-ounce bottles in a day, like for every feeding, just to not have her gain too much weight too quickly. The pediatrician did sign off on that. Otherwise, she's completely healthy. All the kids are doing really well. Sky's still battling a bit of a sinus infection, but they were watching it and making sure that she's getting the proper treatment as well.
All right, maybe I need to go see the pediatrician. She would cut back my formula.
Mr. Daniels, just to give you a heads up, Mr. Hill, he is currently incarcerated as of right now, and I will send you information with all that I have to be able to locate him. And then as far as Mr. Rico is concerned, I've still had no contact with him. I've tried to reach out to the information that I was provided whenever this case was transferred to me, and I haven't been able to make any contact with him. I know he popped up for just a short amount of time. He tried to go to Tina's home, and proper protocol was followed. The cops were called, and he took off before law enforcement got there.
Is there still a protective order in effect?
I believe so. I'm not 100% certain on that one, to be honest, though.
Okay. All right, service plans developed, signed by at least mom, filed.
Yes. All three of them have service plans, and they've all been filed. The only ones that have signature on it as of this point is mom's.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy to hear that she's gotten off to a really good start. So, Mr. Barfield?
Judge, I don't have any. I think everything's running smoothly from our standpoint, so I really don't have any witnesses to call. I just think we need to forge forward and move the way we're moving.
All right. Okay, again, Ms. Martinez, thank you for your early efforts. It's really important. And do you have any questions or anything today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Okay. Mr. Jackson, anything?
No, all I have is that it's my understanding that Tina is getting an hour of visitation a week, and from the report, it looks like the visitations are going well. I would ask for the court to consider allowing her to have more visits and time with her kids based on the progress that she's making.
Ms. Hunter, where in proximity are they all in this area?
One of them is located in Lubbock. The other two are here locally. As of right now, they do have a weekly, like everybody together visitation over in Plainview. So, I mean, we can definitely look at it, Your Honor. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I do want to request that just to ensure that everything is on the up and up, just for mom to do a hair follicle and UA today, if possible, just to clear her of anything as far as that is concerned.
Okay, Mr. Barfield, Mr. Jackson, any problem with mom going to do that? And then if everything's good, we can up the visits.
I don't think drugs are an issue in this case, but I mean, obviously, I don't think my client has any drug history whatsoever that I'm aware of. So, I mean, I think she's doing everything she's supposed to. I think that's just, I don't think there's any indication that needs to happen, but obviously in this particular case, but I mean, courts, so I just think that's, I don't have any reason to believe she's on drugs, but other than that, no.
Have we done any underlying drug testing at all?
No, ma'am. There's been no drug screens on anybody.
Okay.
And I don't even think that the OSAR was requested as a service either, as far as Ms. Martinez is concerned.
It was on there. We always put drug screens and OSARs on there just because sometimes the case may not initially start out with drugs as a concern, but they have a tendency sometimes to pop up later on down the line. So we always do that just out of due diligence. If the drug screens do come back negative, though, we won't request an OSAR. There's not a necessary need for it.
Yeah, I have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay. It's likely to be a one-time thing. Let's just get the baseline, and then we maybe can be done with that. And also then eliminate OSAR as a requirement. So, Ms. Martinez, I am going to let you go do those today. Yes. You need to be there before 4 o'clock, and it's out at Care Express out on Ross Osage. Ms. Hunter will make sure you know where to go. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Bala.
Owner, the kids are doing well. I've got no objection to increasing that visit, and recommend that those placements continue. I hadn't heard anything about any possible family home studies, so I just wanted to check on that.
I can answer that if you'd like, Your Honor.
Please.
We did get the home study back as of yesterday. It came in late yesterday, so it is currently with my supervisor being reviewed.
Who was that on?
It was on the aunt.
Okay.
Maternal aunt?
Yes.
Okay, so it's now just a question of getting it approved, or whether it's approved or not. Okay. All right, Mr. Hill, I didn't mean to skip over you, sir, but I didn't know that you had much of anything else to tell us.
No, ma'am, I don't. Thank you.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I don't know if Mr. Hill has an issue with it. Do we want to go ahead and get paternity testing ordered on Mr. Daniel? If we can, I believe he's in the Lynn unit.
Yeah, now that we know where he is, I'd say let's go ahead and order it. But now maybe Jeff can reach out to him at least and pose the question. But I think, it takes a while. So I think let's go ahead and order it and get it in the works. And then Jeff, if he wants to acknowledge, that's fine.
Okay.
Just let us know. Then today I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I will continue placement. The home study, let me just clarify, Ms. Hunter, is that on for all the children, for all 3 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right, Ms. Martinez, I'm going to order your service plan to be in order of the court today. And what that means is, I expect you to work your services, and failure to work your services could result in the children not coming home to you. It could result in termination of your parental rights. I'm not telling you those things, to cast any shadow on what you've done, because you've started off really well. I'm just required by law to make sure you understand that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Just keep doing what you're doing, and I think everything will turn out fine. I will order you to go drug test today, as we've already talked about.
Yes, ma'am.
And hopefully that'll be the last one.
Yeah.
And then I'll see you back for the next hearing that we have. Will be February 6th of 2024 at 9 o'clock. Also, we'll order genetic testing on Mr. Daniel. Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Thank you, Judge.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Cassie Kopic is my pregnancy specialist. We are present and ready.
Judge Jeff Hill for Sis Contreras, the mother, in all 3 cases. Judge, I don't see her here. I have not been able to reach her. I just received a new phone number for her yesterday and reached out to her and was unable to get her. So I don't see her here, and I'm not sure if she knows she's supposed to be here, Judge. I presume she would know based on the last hearing, but I don't see her.
Okay.
Natalie. Oh.
She's not logged in. Yep. Sorry, Ms. Archer.
That's okay. Natalie Archer. I'm the guardian ad litem for Sis Contreras. I also have texted and called her, not been able to reach her. Usually she comes up to our office and Jeff and I do the hearing with her, and we haven't heard from her. So.
Okay.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids. And I may be wrong, but I thought I heard that mom was in the hospital recently, maybe after a car accident.
Janelle Garrett with CASA. Janelle Garrett with CASA. My advocate that's here with me is Dina Turk.
All right, Ms. Kopic, what do we have new since your court report was filed? I know there was the information in that mother had been pulled over on the driving with a license suspended, but do you have any information about mom and perhaps her hospitalization?
She was in a car accident a couple of weeks ago, and she was in the hospital over a week. Her phone number doesn't work anymore, but she has been in contact with the Glenda who watches her visitations. But I don't know that she's gave her a new phone number, but she was in there over a week, and she got out just last week.
She okay?
Well, I mean, she'll be okay. I mean, she wasn't. When I talked to one of her friend, I guess you want to call him that, he said that, you know, she should be okay after a little while, but yeah, she was hurt.
All right. All right. Anything else then since the court was filed?
John is with his siblings. He was placed on the 6th. They're all in the same foster home in Silverton.
How's that going?
So far, so good. I mean, it's only been a few days, but yeah. He did a pre-placement visit before he was placed there. But, you know, that went well as
Mr. Hill, does that, I don't know if that helps you much if her phone isn't working. I don't know. Is there an alternative number that she could be reached at?
I have 3 different numbers, and none of those numbers are working right now. But I can get with Glenda and see if she called from another number, or ask her friend if he's got a better number for her.
Okay. If you do, would you pass that along to Mr. Hill?
Yes, I will.
Or can get a message to her. She needs to contact him.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hill, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Ms. Archer.
No, since I haven't been able to reach her, I do not have any updates.
Okay, so if we get any information, we just share it so everybody knows how to get in touch with her. Okay, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, John got to placement on Friday, so I went out and saw all of them on Saturday. Of course, that was less than 24 hours after he had been there. I think John was much more excited to be there than Abby was to have him there. But I'm glad that they're all together. It seems like a great placement. He's very excited because he'll get to start back up at the school that he was at last year. And so he's already got friends there. Glad to be there. So I'm hoping for the best. All the kids looked good. And I recommend that this placement continue.
All right. And is this a relative?
It's not. It's a foster placement.
Okay. Okay, then. Is mom making any progress on services?
She is working services. She did a psychological evaluation. She did rational behavior therapy. She's in counseling right now with Steve Jennings. She had started parenting, but she got a job at JBS. So she's working nights. So she's not going to the parenting anymore. And we were working on finding her a different option.
All right. And the auto accident, any arrests or any problems like that as a result of that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All
right. Was she driving, do you know, or was she a passenger in the vehicle? I'm sorry to interrupt, Judge.
No, it's fine.
To my knowledge, she was driving. Okay. I think Glenda had said maybe somebody hit her, somebody she worked with or something, but I don't really have those details.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Do we have the results of the psychological?
Yes, I can send those to you.
Thank you.
Court.
That'd be helpful.
All right. And have we had any contact with any of the alleged fathers?
No, I need to do affidavits of inability to locate because I haven't had any luck contacting anybody.
Or locating them or anything?
Right.
All right. Okay, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator. We continue the children's placement. We will have our next review hearing February 6th of 2024. That'll be at 9 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Kyan Williams is my premises specialist. We are present ready.
Judge Teresa Ratliff for the mother, Kristen Smith. I'm present. Judge, my client is not. She is in a rehab program for the next 90 days, and that's, or 30 days. That's been verified by CPS.
Okay.
Lauren Lucero on behalf of the father, Dylan Green, Your Honor, we're both present, ready.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of Serenity, here and ready.
All right. Then Ms. Williams, what do we have new since your court report was filed?
Nothing new except Kirsten is in rehab. She went on Friday. And they said that she's in a detox program, which can be anywhere from 3 to 11 days. And then after that, she chooses to do the 30-day program. She can. But other than that, everything's good.
Is she at Serenity or where is she?
She's in Synacor.
Synacor, okay. All right, what other services have we accomplished?
None have been accomplished so far.
By either parent?
Dylan finished the ISF program, and he's been referred to Fatherhood Fire for parenting classes. And he's going to set up his counseling as well.
Okay, he was just recently released?
Yes, on 9/21.
Okay. So obviously it takes a little while to get things set up and arranged and started. So, okay. All right, Mr. Green, it's important you get going on those things because, you know, the clock is ticking. We only have so much time in these cases, and so you're going to have a little catch up to do, but I encourage you to get going as quick as you can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Serenity is doing well, it sounds like.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Ratliff, anything else to report?
No, Judge, just I appreciate them verifying that where she was at because I didn't have that information. So I appreciate that. And I'm just asked Ms. Williams to have her call me once she's released. And that's all I've got.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Lucero?
Your Honor, as was stated, Dylan recently completed ISF. I know that during ISF, they complete, you know, different programs. So I'm hopeful possibly that something that he completed there will count towards maybe a service that he's supposed to complete through this case. So if Ms. Williams would just keep me posted on that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, often, I mean, he may have taken some kind of parenting. He may have taken, you know, something else that might help out. So, Ms. Williams, have you been provided anything by Mr. Green?
I have not. I was just waiting to get any kind of paperwork from his probation officer.
Okay.
But we've asked for it.
Okay.
Your Honor, I will ask, and I don't have the permanency report right in front of me. I can pull it up. As far as if I could ask Ms. Williams, was Mr. Green required to complete an OSAR evaluation?
His service plan in front of me, but I don't believe that he was.
Okay, I was just wondering since he had done the ISF. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to be clear on that one. Thank you.
Yes, and he did submit a hair follicle and a UA on 10/6. I haven't gotten those results back yet.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. Ms. Zabala.
Your Honor, Serenity's placed with paternal grandparents and is doing well. I recommend that placement continue.
Okay, Mr. Green, do you have any questions, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Green, since you weren't actually present at the status hearing, I'm going to go ahead and tell you some things that I normally say at the status hearing, but I know you weren't there because you were still in your ISF program. So I just want to stress to you that I've already made your service plan an order of the court. And so it's like any court order, I expect you to abide by that. And failure to work your services can result in the child not coming home. In worst case scenario, it can result in termination of your parental rights. So not telling you those things to discourage you or making any comment on your progress. It's just the law requires that I make sure you understand those things. So that's why I'm stressing, get going on these things. Let's get them done. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You bet. All right, then I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I will continue placement. And our next hearing will be February 6th of 2024 on a 9:00 docket. I do want to make sure of one thing while we're still together. I show Mr. Green as an adjudicated father. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, that's correct, John.
Okay. Just thought we'll clear that, make sure we're all on the same page. Okay. All right. I'll see everybody back then. Thank you very much. Good luck, Mr. Green. Well, we at least had cases today where people are engaged.
Yeah. The ones we can find.
Ones we can find. Okay. We'll take announcements.
Daniel trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Shay Cairns is my primacy specialist. We are present and ready. And Your Honor, I don't see Mr. Turman. Is he in?
I don't have him logged in, but I'm not showing. I mean, mother passed away.
Well, and I haven't seen everything on that. I know Shay told me about that. I haven't seen we haven't filed a suggestion of death on it yet. So I haven't seen the obituary and stuff on that yet. So
I don't know if he withdrew technically because of his new position. Ms. Katie, do you know about any of that?
I haven't seen any withdrawals from Mr. Turman on any case.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming he probably is not present because she is deceased.
Okay.
Okay.
I apologize. I think I interrupted announcements.
Oh, Bill Taylor representing Ronnie Johnson's father. I'm present and ready. He is not, although he apparently attempted to call in.
He is logging in right now. I'll bring him in. All right, Mr. Johnson, can you hear me okay? You'll have to unmute. All right, so Mr. Johnson is present. All right.
Stacey Zabala on behalf of Amelia.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then what do we have new since the court report was filed? Ms. Karen?
I spoke with Ronnie yesterday and he has admitted to using still. I will have him sign an admittance tomorrow whenever I meet with him. We have moved the goals up from reunification. We moved it to relative fictive kin adoption and then unrelated adoption as secondary. And we have 2 people that we're looking at placing Amelia with. We're just waiting on them to get licensed. And I'm going to go over everything again with Ronnie tomorrow and see what we can get started on all that.
Are these placements relative?
One is, Ronnie, is that your cousin? Chelsea's your cousin, correct?
No, she's my sister.
Sister. I apologize. I don't know. And then the other has Amelia's biological brother. So.
Okay. All right. And
Your Honor, may I ask Mr. Johnson something real quick?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, Jay had let me know you may want paternity testing. Is that something that you want done?
Yes, sir.
Judge, if we could get a paternity testing ordered also.
All right. We will certainly order that today and get that going.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So before we go any further, all right. My understanding from reading the report is the mother of the child, Angel White, passed away on August 21st of this year. Is that correct, Ms. Cairns?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Has St. Francis or the department seen the certificate of death yet?
No, ma'am.
Right. But that is, I assume, reasonably reliable information. Was there an obituary?
I have not seen one. Ronnie, do you have the obituary or death certificate?
Her mom has it. I have to get it from her mom, but I never got one.
And just ask Ronnie, was it in Amarillo that she passed away? Do you know where she passed away?
Yes, it was right there where we was staying at, right there in the minister apartments.
Okay. And Judge, I looked for an obituary end of last week. I did not see one. And I think as far as getting copies or certificates, lately our investigators and them have not been able to get them. So I wanted to, another reason I was asking about Mr. Turman, I didn't know if since he was her attorney, if he'd be able to get a copy of it, but we have been having issues getting those type of documents.
Ms. Cairns, do you know how to reach her mother?
I don't have a number that works right now.
I do.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I do have her number. Yes.
If you'll send that to me, Ronnie.
Yes, ma'am. I will.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help. You know, I mean, obituary only happens if family makes that happen. So
yes, ma'am.
No. All right, then, Mr. Taylor.
I have nothing to add other than asking Ronnie to be sure and try again to call me.
Yes,
each time
I did.
You go ahead.
Oh, I did just try to call you this morning. My phone's been off. I just got it back on this morning, matter of fact. But yeah, I tried to call this morning. But as soon as I was calling you, Shay was texting me and telling me to get ready for the meeting and what I was going and stuff.
Okay, well, each time I try to call you, the number that I've got for you, the call will not go through. So
yes, it was because my phone was off.
Okay.
It's back on now. So
okay, well, if you will try again after the hearing today,
yes, sir.
I'll be able to talk to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Or Mr. Taylor, I'd be happy to put you all in a breakout room if you'd like for me to do that when we conclude today.
Yes, I would appreciate that.
Okay, all right. Okay, then Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, Amelia's doing well in her placement. She's had a number of different medical tests, but I think what it's coming down to is they just think she's small, but she is gaining weight. But she's got some follow-up appointments scheduled for pretty far out. But she is doing well. I would just ask that when the information regarding the 2 possible placements come in, if Ms. Carnes could forward that to me. But as of right now, she's doing great in her placement.
All right. All right, Ms. Cairns, has his dad made any progress on his services?
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Johnson, I show that this is the first hearing that you've attended. So I want to tell you some things because you probably haven't heard them from me. Failure to work your services can mean termination of your parental rights. And I understand that you want paternity testing, and we'll get that set up, but you're going to run out of time if you don't get started on some things.
I did start my fatherhood on Zoom with I forgot his name, but I was doing my classes online. It was just I mean, I missed a few of them, but I did start them and stuff like that.
Ms. Cairns, do you know what that would have been?
On September 25th, I got an email from Levi, the one that does that class.
Yeah, Levi.
And he said he talked to you a couple times, but hadn't had contact with you, and you were scheduled to start, and he sent a 2-week letter out. If you didn't respond in 14 days, he said he'd have to close his case. But that is and then you'll have to be referred again. That's the last I heard from him. I will ask for another update on that. But did you talk to him last week, Ronnie? Is that when?
Yes, ma'am. I believe so. I mean, I really haven't stayed in contact with him because after Angel passed away, man, I was going through some stuff. Like I had to move and all types of stuff. You know what I mean? I almost lost my job. Yeah.
Can I get your new address, please?
Yes, ma'am. It's
hang on, Mr. Johnson. We're on YouTube. I prefer him to just text that to Ms. Cairns, if you will. Having said what I've said, then Mr. Johnson, for a final on February 6th of 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket.
You say 9 o'clock?
Yes, February 6th. Now, you know, if you get going on these services and you're making good progress, then I might at that time consider to move that final and push that back.
Yes, ma'am.
But because we've made no progress so far, I'm going to go ahead and set it for final that day. So it's important that you get going on these things.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then until then, I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I'm going to continue replacement and find that there's an ongoing and continuing danger to send a child home at this point in time. And we will set that final February 6th, 2024.
Judge, also, I can't remember if Ms. Karen said she has sent Ronnie to drug screening, but if we could get a UA and a hair follicle ordered from Mr. Johnson.
Okay, I'll go ahead and order Mr. Johnson to do that. Mr. Johnson, can you get there today before 4 o'clock?
I have to be at work at 4, matter of fact. So, I mean, could I do it tomorrow, maybe?
Can you do it before noon tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll order you to be there before noon tomorrow. Do you know where to go?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you go to Care Express. It's out on South Ross Osage, but Ms. Cairns will make sure you know exactly where to go.
Okay.
All right. And just remember, failure to do that drug test result. And based on your admission, I mean, we're going to expect it to be positive, but it's important that we get a level on it. And if you work services and those levels on drug tests come down, then, you know, that's what we need to see. Okay. All right, then. I'll see everybody back in February. Good morning, Ms. Adams. Thank you, Judge. Mr. Beard, we've got, we're waiting on a few people, so we'll get y'all here pretty quick.
Okay, good morning.
Is Mr. Ray the caseworker?
Yes.
Okay. Thought so. All right, so I've got some department folks that are talking, so as soon as we get them back in, we'll get going.
Okay, that's fine.
You know, Judge, I said good morning twice because I heard you say good morning to me twice, and I realized I had my YouTube open. Sometimes I open it just to kind of, if y'all are running late or running early, you know, so that was.
I thought you were just greeting everyone else the second time.
Thank you.
We are here today on a review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom under finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Darius Reyes, my permanency specialist. We're present, ready.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Piper Abbott, and we're both present and ready.
And Snowack for the dad, Matthew Beard. We're present and ready, Judge. Well, he's going potty with his daughter right now, but he'll be present in a half a second.
Thank you for sharing that on YouTube.
Bill Taylor for the unknown father of the other child, and I'm present. So I idea where my client is. So.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of the girls.
Let's get an update from the department. What do we have since the court report was filed?
Since the court report was filed, we have that both of the parents' drug tests came back from, I believe it was the beginning of October, that first week of October, or either that last week of September, but they both did a hair follicle and a supervised UA, and everything came back clean for them. Also, along with that, the mother is getting ready to start a job, and she's trying to get daycare for the children because she's getting ready to start working. Other than that, there's nothing new with the case, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. every kid's still doing well in the home and everything's going all right?
Yes, ma'am. The kids are doing exceptionally well in the home. They're glad to be back with their parents. Parents are adjusting to having a newborn along with the two girls. They seem to be adjusting well. Matthew is doing exceptionally well. He's working 2 jobs and has been providing very well for his family. And there hasn't been any issues at all. Also, I can't remember if I did put in the court report. Piper did get 3 years of probation.
Okay. So we've got that handled. As long as all that goes well. Okay. Great. All right then, Miss Archer.
Well, Piper has told me that things are going well. I told her that this is by far my favorite case right now because things are going well. Her only question for today was really just when the case would be over.
Hey, y'all be quiet, okay? Y'all each.
Sure. Okay. And the children were placed back home when, Mr. Ray?
October 30th, Your Honor. The department usually likes for there to be, 6 weeks during the monitor return, 6 to 8 weeks.
You mean
September
30th?
No. I'm sorry. August. Did I say August?
August 31st, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said October.
I said, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Yes, I mean August. I'm getting my months mixed up.
Okay.
And so, yes, ma'am, it was August 31st.
Okay.
And
all right. And so, Ms. Archer, I think the answer is, they usually like to monitor for a full 6 weeks. Are they having any difficulty trying to find daycare? Is there anything we can do to try to assist there, or?
I'm sorry. I was going to say Miss Abbott they are having some trouble, in which my supervisor advised me to point her into the direction of Workforce Solutions. She stated that we as a department don't offer anything during that time of a monitor return, but that there's a CCS application that Piper can put in to try and get daycare for the girls.
Okay. Like CCMS or whatever it's called?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mr. Nowak?
Judge, when Mr. Ray says that the kids are doing exceptionally well, mom's doing exceptionally well, and dad's doing exceptionally well, I got nothing to add. Thank you so much.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, anything?
No new information on identity or location of the unknown father, young.
Okay, and that's unknown of winter. All right. Then Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, I got to visit with the girls in the home yesterday. The home looked great. The girls look great. I'm very impressed with the work that the parents have put in. They're monitoring medical issues. The only things that are kind of up in the air from my perspective is just pinning down that daycare, and then the home that they're in is currently on the market. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen when and if that sells, but it looks like they're doing really great where they are.
Okay, let me just ask parents, what's the plan if the house sells?
Our grandmother had took it off the market when we moved in here. There is still a for sale sign out there, but she did take it off the market until we find our own place.
Okay, so nothing imminent on that.
No.
Okay, all right. So it seems to me the kind of the last component is let's get daycare arranged and make sure that that's going okay. And then, we're set for a final in December, but absolutely no reason to wait that long. So I think at this juncture, if parents get daycare lined up and that seems to all be handled, then I think it's time we get out. So, we don't have to wait to the next hearing. Let's get your daycare arranged. You started to work, and, give that couple of weeks, and then I don't see any reason why we can't be done at that point in time. Are we going to need any kind of hearing, or are we just going to dismiss?
Judge, since I think we adjudicated Dad in one, we may just need a final order with all that in there. But I will, once I get information that daycare is set up and that we're ready to get out, I can get that drafted and send it around to parties and get it filed.
Okay. And then with respect to winter, I mean, we've got an unknown. You want to just dismiss and leave that where it stands?
Probably so, Your Honor. That may be the best route on that one.
I think so.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Okay. All right. Well, so does that help answer your question, Ms. Abbott?
Yeah, I mean, so how many weeks until this case will get closed? Can you give me a timeline?
Let's make sure you got your daycare set up, and that's all lined out.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've already applied for the CCS or the CCMS or however that's said, but I've already applied for it. But there is a wait list. It did tell me there was a wait list. So,
well, do you have a definite start date that you've got to be at work?
No, I just have to call up there and tell them, like, I'm ready to start, stuff like that. They said that I could start this week if I wanted to, if I found out how to get daycare started and stuff, but.
All right, Mr. Ray, do you know anything about as far as the wait list for the CCMS?
I do not know how long that is or how long that process may take, but I can do my best to find out. And if possible, Judge, I was going to ask, and I'm not trying to overstep any boundaries, but if Piper did apply, could she send me like a verification or a screenshot or something where it shows that her application is in process, and I can get that over to Daniel just to have verification that she has applied?
That'd probably be helpful. So
I just need to send you a screenshot of the verification process, Darius.
A notification that it can take a month.
Ms. Smith has put in the chat. She says in Lubbock, the wait list is about 6 months, but they have additional funding for parents that have previous CPS cases, so it may go faster. Mr. Ray just got some message that maybe I'm not. That's just,
is it like, I'm sorry, Judge, is it necessary to have daycare? Because I mean, we're kind of doing fine without daycare, and I don't know. I've never been a big fan of daycare. We were just going to do it just so Piper could get a job. But I mean, is it like real necessary is what I'm asking?
Well, I guess what I heard was she's going to go to work, and so you need to have daycare for the children.
What's your plan, Matthew? How has it been working? Tell me that.
I mean, it's been fine with just me working. I mean, she's been fine. It's just I don't know. Just she was wanting a little bit of work time or something like that. But I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, is it necessary, like, to leave the case open if we didn't have daycare?
The only reason I'm suggesting that is because that's going to be a transition for all of you. And, you're talking about you're talking about 2 young children. 3, because the baby's in the home. So 3, and it's just a, mom going back to work and kids going to daycare and all that. It's just another kind of big transition. So all I was suggesting is let's get through that, give it a couple of weeks, and then we get out. So I understand your concern because there may be this wait list. I think Ms. Zavala expressed the same concern.
Judge, may I ask Matthew a question?
Sure.
Hey, Matthew, what I heard in your question was everything's working fine with you're working your 3 jobs and Piper's staying home. And if that's the case, you don't need daycare, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, I'm working 2 jobs, but I was thinking about quitting my other job because I get paid good at the job that I'm working, my newer job. I'm getting paid really good here. So I was thinking about quitting my other job.
But
we've been doing fine. So,
and I get all that, but I think the concern was that if Piper does go back to work and you're working at the same time Piper's working, obviously the kids are going to need some care.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page, Matthew, and Judge, thank you so much.
So, I mean, where that leaves us today is, Ms. Abbott, do you think you are going to go to work and we are going to transition the kids to daycare?
I mean, if it's to get this case closed, and I'm sorry to say, but CPS out of our lives, then I'll stay at home with them until I need to start working. But until then, it's been going on a year and a half now. I don't know how any other place to say it. Like, if anything, just to get this case closed, I will stay home with the kids. Because like Matthew said, he makes enough. I was just trying to get some work time in, but I'll stay home.
Let me ask this, if Mr. Ray or Ms. Smith knows, if we dismiss or we enter a final order and we dismiss on one child, then will parents lose their eligibility for the CPCS or the CCS, whatever, CCMS?
In Lubbock, when you, on the application, it's online and there's a checkbox to check that you had a previous case within the last 12 months. So I think that would, I can't say for sure because I personally, I haven't, gone through that process personally, but I've just seen that on their application. And when I previously worked for CPS, they could just transition over into that additional funding.
Okay. All right. So maybe they won't lose that eligibility and that little bit of an advantage. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Zavala, what's your opinion if mom's going to just stay home until they can get all that handled?
I think I would be fine. It just seemed like there was still a little bit up in the air, but like I said, I don't have concerns about the girls. They looked great. They interacted with parents really well. Parents had good information about medical, seemed to be on it. It just seemed like potentially the housing and the daycare were just things that needed to be finalized or wrapped up. But if that's not where we're going, those were my only real concerns, other than just simply monitoring kind of the usual time to make sure everything's good. But I didn't see anything that gave me a red flag at their home and at the visit.
All right. Well, I think, Mr. Trout, let's get a final order circulated in in regards to midnight, and then an order of dismissal in the works on winter, and that will get out of your lives. It'll take, it's going to take a little bit to get those orders prepared and circulated, but we'll wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. All right. So I don't know how long it'll take. I guess we can just do that for attorney signature only.
Yes, ma'am.
Since there won't be any kind of child support or anything like that in it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then. That's what we'll do. So I'll sign the orders when they get them to me, and I appreciate all your all's hard work in getting the kids home, and I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much, Judge. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank y'all.
Thank
you, Smith, for your help. Our final today. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and consent and agreement of the parties. Mother is appeared from, I think, Ohio. And so we are also live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take everybody's announcements first.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, honey.
Ben Snowak on behalf of Monica Gibson. We're both present. We're ready, Judge.
I think we lost Janice.
That's right.
But while we're waiting, Stacy Zavala on behalf of Noah.
Your Honor, I'm Janice Alexander Cross. I am appearing on behalf of Cody Kirtle. He represents the father, and I announce that we are present and ready.
Okay. All right, Mr. Trell, we've had a bench conference. It seems like we've got pretty much an agreement in what we're going to do moving forward. So if you want to go ahead and outline that for us.
Yes, ma'am. We're setting up a monitor to turn with transition. It would allow mom to kind of get settled in a new place. As my understanding, she's been approved for a 2-bedroom apartment. Hopefully she can get moved in within the next week or two. And then we're going to start some unsupervised visits between mom and the child, and then work toward getting the child placed back in the home on a monitored return. As soon as mom gets in that apartment, we will need to get an ICPC home study done that allows us, once it's completed, to monitor in the state of Ohio for a little bit and make sure everything goes okay. We have a schedule kind of laid out, but due to mom not being in that apartment right now, some of those visits, we may add some few visits in before we get the child in. Hopefully we get all that done and we can get the child in the home with the mom, hopefully by Thanksgiving or so, end of November, and then start monitoring at that point. I believe the information I received yesterday is due to it being a parent, the ICPC, hopefully we can get it done within 30 to 60 days once the mom's in that apartment.
Okay. And in all likelihood, then Ohio would be the ones actually doing the monitoring, because we obviously can't go to do that. So that's the other main reason for the ICPC.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mr. Nowak, does that sound like what you and your client have agreed to?
I love every bit of it. Yes, we're good with that. Thank you, Judge.
All right, and Ms. Cross, I assume you all kind of don't have a dog in this fight, so any objections?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Zavala?
Yes, Your Honor, that is my agreement.
Okay. All right, if you all will direct yourselves to the chat, Ms. Katie has put in some new dates. I'll announce those when we conclude, but if you want to go ahead and make note of those. So for today's purposes, anything really new or different since the court report was filed?
No, ma'am, there is nothing new since the court report was filed.
Okay, so I reviewed that. Everybody else, I assume, has had a chance. So appears that everything's going well for mom and everything's going well for the child right now. Do we need to review anything further, or are we good?
Judge, I would just have a couple of quick questions for mom and see if she kind of knows the answers or got our timeline on this.
Sure.
Ms. Gibson, I know you got approved for the apartment. Have they given you a move-in date yet, or just told you kind of when you can?
When I talked to her Friday, she said, I know the apartment number. She said that they are currently putting in new flooring in the kitchen. And as soon as the new flooring is in, then I'll be able to move in. So it should be sometime this week, she said, but potentially next week. But as soon as they have that flooring done, then I'll be getting the keys to the apartment.
Okay. And as soon as you do get in that apartment, let Ms. Ladle know so that we can start that ICPC home study and get that put in, so that we can try to get that moved as fast as we can.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Very good. Anybody else have anything they need to report?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like we've got a plan. I will order the monitored return with transitions. I know the department has a kind of a stepped up unsupervised visitation plan to begin, and I will sign the orders. Also, I will sign the order for the ICPC as soon as we know mom is in that apartment. And so we will have a couple of scheduled dates. Ms. Gibson, doesn't necessarily mean we will ever get to these dates, but just we have to have them on the calendar. So first review hearing would be February 6th of 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket, and a final scheduled for April 2nd of 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket. Our dismissal date would be April 5th of 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So everything will go smoothly. We can get this ICPC fairly quickly, and we can just keep moving forward.
And Your Honor, just to let the parties know, since it may be next week, we may add another unsupervised visit in before the child's placed back in the home, just to give us a little more time on that and let mama get moved in and get the room set up. So we will get a readjusted schedule set up for the reunification plan, and we'll get it signed by parties and filed with the court.
Okay. All right. Sounds fine. I know it's just a little open-ended about whether she'll be in 10 days or 2 weeks, 3, so that's fine.
And Ms. Slagle, I'll get with you on that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Ms. Gibson, keep up the good work.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Thanks, Judge Baker. It was good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for filling in. I appreciate your time here today.
That's no problem.
For our final in this matter, we are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and consent and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We are present, ready, Your Honor.
Jennifer Aranjo for the mother, Desiree Mason. I'm present. She is not present, but I'm ready.
Stacy Grant for the father, Jose Martinez. He is not present. I'm present and I'm ready.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of Aiden, here and ready.
All right then, Mr. Trout, how many witnesses do you have today?
You have 2, Your Honor.
Trout, you can call your first witness.
Call Michelle Spencer, Your Honor.
Rich, you may proceed.
And have you reviewed the records from that case?
I
have. Were the removal affidavit and investigative report made part of the records?
Yes.
And are they filed with the court?
Yes.
And you've reviewed those documents?
I have.
How did the department become involved with the child?
We received a report on December 14th, 2022 regarding neglectful supervision due to mom testing positive at Aiden's birth.
Okay. According to the report, was your investigator able to meet with the mom?
He was.
And what were the circumstances surrounding the birth?
The baby was born at home and then transferred to the hospital to NICU.
Okay. And then due to the home birth, what sort of testing was done on the child?
Urinalysis testing was done on the child.
Okay. Did the investigator speak to mom at the hospital?
Yes.
And did she bring up the reason for CPS involvement at that time?
She did.
Did mom admit to any drug use?
She did.
And did she admit, what was that she admitted to?
The morning that Aiden was born, she admitted to taking a hit of methamphetamine after she found the bowl on the table.
Okay. Did she admit that dad knew that she had done that? At
that time, she denied dad knowing.
And did Ms. Mason tell the investigator who the alleged dad was in the case?
She did.
And what was his name?
Jose Martinez, but she calls him Joe.
Did Ms. Mason sign any sort of form as far as her drug use?
She did.
And what was that?
An acknowledgement of substance abuse form.
And is that filed with the court?
It is.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 3, which is a certified copy of the acknowledgement of substance use form that was filed with the court on December 29th of 2022. And Ms. Spencer, on that acknowledgement of use form, what drugs did mom admit to using?
She admitted to methamphetamines and marijuana.
Was your worker ever able to meet with Joe Martinez, Jose Martinez?
I believe briefly for a short period, but not to conduct a full interview.
That was going to be my next question. Was he willing to conduct a full interview at that time?
No, he told her several times he didn't have time.
Did he set up any time at a later date to meet with your investigator?
I believe he did, but didn't follow through with anything.
Okay. Outside of that meeting, was your investigator ever able to meet in person with Mr. Martinez again?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
How was the child doing after the birth?
The child was in NICU for some respiratory concerns, and there was also some feeding concerns. which was due to the in utero exposure to methamphetamines.
Okay. Did the department try to find family or somebody that could help with the child?
We did.
And what were those efforts?
Talked to numerous family members and tried to see if we could implement a safety plan or something through these family members, but weren't able to find any family members.
Okay. Was it a situation where couldn't get a hold of family members, or nobody was willing to, or they didn't check out?
Kind of both. Most of them didn't check out, but there was a family member that would be willing to if the mom was going to do what she needed to do. Okay. But she was also elderly.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
She was also very elderly. It wasn't sure she could do it long term.
Okay. Was there another child in that house?
There was.
And that was that a grandmother? Who was that?
I believe it was grandmother.
Okay. And she was in her upper 70s?
Yes.
Okay. And she also worked? Did she also work?
Yes.
Okay. So no safety plan was able to be put in place due to not being able to find supervisors?
That's correct.
So due to the child being born positive and not being able to find a safety plan or family members to help out, and dad not being cooperative at the time, was determination made to remove the child and to ask for temporary management conservatorship of the child?
Yes.
And do you believe that was in the best interest of the child?
Yes.
Did the child, I know you said the child was in NICU, did it have any lasting effects that have gone on? Does it have any health problems that you know of at this time?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. And y'all's, as far as your investigator and your role in this, ended after the adversary, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the case went over to St. Francis?
That's correct.
I'll pass the witness at this time, Aaron.
Ms. Spencer, when was the last time the investigator was able to communicate with Ms. Mason?
I believe it was around the end of December.
And did Ms. Mason voice to the investigator a willingness to work services?
She did.
I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Spencer, how many times did the investigator speak with Joe?
3 or 4, I believe.
And did he understand he would be required to work services, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yes.
And did he work any of the services during the investigatory process?
No, ma'am.
And did the investigator lose contact before the case was transferred to a permanency worker?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Judge.
The original placement where Aiden was placed, although not family members, were they a home who had adopted 2 of Aiden's siblings?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Okay. All right, you may call your next witness.
Call Marissa Herrera. What are your first steps once you receive a case?
We made contact with the parents and create a family plan of service.
Were you able to meet with the parents?
No.
Were you able to go do a family plan of service for them?
No, I created one, but I wasn't able to meet with them.
So you're never able, we have one and it was filed, but you were never able to speak with the parents about it?
Yes.
Did the parents ever reach out to you?
There was a little bit of contact when the case first started. The mom she texted me a little bit, and then she hopped on to a permanency conference at the start of the case, and that's the last contact I've had with her.
Okay. And around approximately what date was that?
It was January or February.
Okay. So a couple of months after the case got going?
Yes.
Were you ever able to speak to the dad?
No.
So throughout the life of this case, you've never been able to meet with him or talk to him, even talk to him on the phone?
No. Desiree had told me that he would not be okay with that.
Okay. Even though she told you that, did you do your due diligence as far as reaching out, trying to get in touch with him on a monthly basis?
Yes.
Okay. And how many times a month, approximately, do you try to get up with Ms. Mason or Mr. Martinez?
At least 3 times.
Okay. And that's since you've had the case?
Yes.
Did you own service plans? What do those entail? Tell us what those are.
The family plan of service is made for the parents to complete these services in order to address the issues of removal, so that way they can get their children back. Some of the services that we had were drug screening and also doing a drug assessment to see their needs on services to address their drug issues, attend parenting classes, attend visits with their children, and also attend counseling and a psychosocial.
Okay. And you generated those service plans for that?
Yes.
And were these filed with the court?
Yes.
Were they made an order of the court?
Yes.
Did you receive what I sent out, exhibit number 1?
Yes.
And can you tell us what that is?
The family plan of service.
And was Mr. Martinez and Desiree Mason's family plan in one?
Yes.
And were you able to review the exhibit?
Yes.
And is that an accurate copy of the family plan of service that you generated for this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 1, which is the family plan of service that was just testified to. Ms. Herrera, again, did mom or dad ever work any service or even start any services?
No.
Of anything that was put in that service plan, neither one did any?
No, the mother attended one visit with the child, but other than that, nothing else.
Okay. Do you know why she never attended another visit after that?
No, I don't.
Now the dad is an alleged dad, is that correct?
Yes.
And did you receive exhibit number 2?
Yes.
And can you tell me what that is?
The paternity registry.
And was that filed with the court?
Yes.
And does it show that no intent to claim paternity was filed or requested?
That's true.
Ms. Herrera, you said mom attended one visit. After that, did she ever reach out to try to set up any other visits after missing?
No.
Did she ever call to inquire about how the child was doing?
No.
Email, text message?
No.
Do you know whether she ever tried to reach out to foster parents to see?
She never initiated conversations with the foster parents on Facebook. Usually the foster parents would reach out to her and send pictures and let them know because they have the other children that are hers as well. But she doesn't ask them. Okay. They volunteer information.
Okay. And the child has been in care for over 6 months, correct?
Yes.
You've given the St. Francis Department has made diligent resources available to the parents in order to try to be reunited with the child?
Yes.
Such as family plan, giving services to do, would allow visits if the parents showed up?
Yes.
Do you believe at this time that the parents could provide a safe home for the child physically or resources to provide for that child?
No.
Has the dad ever reached out to try to set up visits?
No.
Did foster parents ever reach out to him? Do you know?
No.
And he never called, text, emailed, handwritten letter trying to get visitations or to check on the child?
No.
Is the department today asking for termination of the parental rights of Jose Martinez and of Desiree Mason based upon the child being born addicted to methamphetamine, constructive abandonment, neither parent has seen the child in quite some time, mother only seen the child once, and failure to work services?
Yes.
And do you believe that's in the best interest of the child?
Yes.
How is the child doing now?
He's doing really well.
Is he in what type of placement is he in?
He's in a foster home that is also licensed to adopt.
And is there intent to adopt him?
Yes.
Is this the same foster home that has adopted other siblings, or is this a different?
This is the same.
Same home. So it would be with step or biological siblings?
Biological siblings, yes.
And you do believe that is in the best interest of the child to be to terminate the parental rights and allow the child to be adopted by their family?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Let me just ask her a couple quick questions. Did we ever get any acknowledgement of drug use by the alleged father?
No, I have not.
And we never got any drug tests done on him?
No.
And did he ever admit to drug use?
No.
Did mother ever implicate him in the fact that he was using as well?
No.
All right. Okay, Ms. Naranjo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Herrera, what efforts have you made to make contact with Ms. Mason?
I've called the last phone number I've had for her, as well as calling relatives, knocking on her door of her last residence, knocking on doors of relatives, emailing her, and sending letters.
When you had contact with her at that permanency conference back in January, February, did she mention a willingness to work services?
She was willing to meet with me at that time, but then whenever we tried to schedule something is whenever she had told me that Joe wouldn't like me coming to the house. I tried getting her to come to the office and meet with me. And then after a while, she just stopped replying and then her phone wasn't working anymore.
I'll pass the witness.
Ma'am, did you file a final report to the court in preparation for today's hearing?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask the court take judicial notice of the final report to the court filed by this witness prior to this hearing. I believe it was September 27th, 2023 at 8:45 a.m. Okay. Ma'am, in your final report to the court, beginning on section on page 2, all the way through page 8 at the top, did you accurately document all of the attempts you made to contact both parents in this case on a monthly basis?
Yes.
And as you filed that report, do you contend today there are no additions or changes to those attempts to contact the parents in this matter?
That is correct.
And can you confirm for the court today that it is your recommendation, as reviewed on page 20, that return of the child to either parent today would be a continuing danger to the physical health or safety of the child, and it is contrary to his welfare?
Yes.
And one last thing on the continuing danger statement on page 20, you indicated that St. Francis still had a concern for both parents being continually involved with illegal substances. Is your concern in that, as to the father, only the fact that you've been unable to drug test him or receive any information?
That concern was because she had stated whenever she used methamphetamine the day of the birth that he was in the home as well.
Okay, so that's the basis for that statement as to the father, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of both parents in this case?
Yes.
And you, is the child in a foster to adopt home?
Yes.
In fact, the child is in a home where previous siblings have already been adopted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, pass the witness, Judge.
All right. And Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Oh, one quick question, Your Honor. Ms. Herrera, when I asked you on reasons for terminating parental rights, also in the alternative, is it for father failing to register with the paternity registry?
Yes.
I'll pass this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Anybody have any further questions?
One question, Your Honor. Actually, it's more of a statement. I would request the court take judicial notice of a paternity registry search performed in this case and filed in this matter on June 20th of 2023, returning no results for Jose Martinez.
All right, and it's already been admitted as an exhibit, so.
Thank you, Judge, about that.
Okay. All right, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further of this witness, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything further from the department?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. I'd recall Michelle Spencer real quick, Your Honor.
Okay. And I think she's logged back in. There she is. All right, you may proceed.
Ms. Spencer, during your investigator's investigation into this case, Mom had admitted to smoking meth the morning of the delivery. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And she stated that she had picked the bowl up off the table and smoked meth.
Correct.
Where was she when that happened?
At Joe's residence.
And she had stated that Joe would be mad that she had smoked meth.
Correct.
Was there an indication that was not hers, but maybe his?
I believe she mentioned to my investigator that he was smoking meth and marijuana as well.
Okay. So mom did allege that dad was also a drug user.
Correct.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Trout, anything further?
Your Honor, I also asked the court to take notice that dad was served by publication that has been filed with the court, and that mom was actually found for a very short period in Randall County Jail, and we served her by publication, but she was also personally served on July 18th of 23. Our whereabouts are unknown after that.
All right, I'll take notice of those dates. All right, Mr. Trout, at this time, then, does the department rest?
Department would rest, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Naranjo, anything today?
No, Your Honor, I'll rest as well.
And Ms. Grant?
No, Your Honor, I'll rest.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Zavala, anything to present or just a recommendation?
Nothing to present, Your Honor, just a recommendation.
All right, you may go ahead.
It is my recommendation that parental rights for both parents be terminated as to Aiden today. That is in his best interest. He is thriving in his placement with his siblings, and it is a long-term adoptive placement. And I do believe that termination would be in his best interest.
All right, thank you, Ms. Zavala. All right, I do find that the department has made reasonable efforts to secure the safe return of the child home to one or both parents, but that there is a continuing ongoing danger to the health, safety, and well-being of the child to return the child home. We've lost contact with the parents. They've worked no services. They've maintained no contact with the child. They've essentially abandoned the child. And so I find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and the mother, Desiree Mason, based on Texas Family Code, section 161.001, subsection B1, the E, N, and O grounds, and Texas Family Code 161.001, B2, the best interest of the child. At this time, I will adjudicate Jose Francisco Martinez as the father and establish the parent-child relationship between the two of them. I do find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and the father, Jose Martinez, based on Texas Family Code 161.001, subsection B1, the D, N, and O grounds, and under 161.001, B2, the best interest of the child. And additionally, under 161.002 B3, his failure to register with the paternity registry. At this time, I'll name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the permanent managing conservator of the child. I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys with the exception of the attorney and guardian ad litem for the child. After the de novo and appellate timeframes expire, I will order that there be no change in the child's placement unless there is an agreement or a court order to that effect. Counsel, as always, be mindful that your de novo timeframe does begin to run since I've rendered an open court. And please, if you're instructed to file a notice of appeal, wait to do that until a final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. Okay, I appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you all very much for your service in the case, and we will be adjourned.
I'm still here, Judge. I'm just I'm processing a little bit. I'm still on the call.
All right, that's fine.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. What up, Cam? Sorry, we're going through all this, bro. I sincerely apologize.
They sure did.
Hey, Cameron, we're gonna hold off on talking until the court announces the case. Okay.
All righty.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me.
Hey, Judge Baker.
Yes.
Can I speak to Mr. Nowak real quick? And I may have to jump around for just a little bit before we get started, Judge.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me, am I able to say something real quick?
Well,
I just have a question.
Yes, sir.
Since the courts are holding off for like a week or two, am I still able to like see my girls and stuff? Like,
okay. Now, since what?
Since this is going to be held on for maybe like 1 or 2 weeks till I get an attorney, am I still able to see my girls and try to, work my treatment and stuff?
Okay, I'll answer that when we get everybody back in here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We're here today on each of these cases for an adversary hearing. We are conducting these hearings through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are also live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. Okay, we'll take everybody's announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We are present and ready, Your Honor.
Joel Jackson on behalf of the mother, Lakeisha Stotts, present and ready, Your Honor.
Ben Snowak on behalf of Cameron Shelton. We are both present and we are ready, Judge.
Stacey Zabala on behalf of the kids.
All right, and Mr. Aguilar, Adam Aguilar Jr. is also present with us. He is not, at this point in time, he has not requested a court-appointed attorney. All right, Mr. Trout.
Your Honor, as to Mr. Aguilar, when Ms. Zavala and I spoke to him, he did say that he would like an attorney. He has not been able to get that paperwork turned in, so we would be asking for a reset in order for him to get an attorney.
All right, it's only going to be in that case or both cases?
It'll just be in that case. He's only the dad in the Aguilar case. As to mom, after speaking with Mr. Jackson, as my understanding, mom is in agreement, and I did get a signature page on that. I believe Mr. Jackson will have a request or two on top of that. But as far as TMC, the Department of Working Services, it's my understanding that mom is in agreement. After speaking with Mr. Nowak, my understanding dad on that case is also in agreement at this time, and Mr. Nowak may have some requests.
All right. Let's take up the Aguilar case first. So, Mr. Aguilar, you are entitled to have an attorney represent you in this proceeding, but it does require you to get that paperwork filled out and turned into my office so that I can look at that and see if you qualify for an attorney. So you've got an option here today. You can, we can reset this, 7 days from now, which is pretty short fuse, or if you agree, and the mother agrees, we can set it out for 14 days. Was there any discussion about what you all wanted to do on that?
Whatever works for everyone else. I'm good with the 7 days. If we can push 14, that'd be even more helpful. But whatever the court sees fit, man. So I can get the paperwork in and I can get my job and stuff and speak with the lawyer, get everything I need to say out.
All right. I need to talk to my coordinator because I know 14 days, let's see, that's going to be I'll be in Austin part of that week, and so.
And Rachel just sent a message, Your Honor, on that. I think
is the 26th, Ms. Katie? Is that day just overwhelmed? I mean, completely.
No, Judge, it's just a bunch of after finals, and it's not even that many. We don't have a lot going on.
7 days from now would work as well.
So, 7 days, Mr. Aguilar, I mean, it doesn't give you a whole lot of time. I'm just telling you, attorneys are busy people. I think it might be better for all of you. And I don't even have your paperwork yet. So, I think it would be better to put it on the 26th.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll reset the Aguilar case to October 26th. Ms. Katie, are we going to do that morning, afternoon? What are we going to do?
We can do it at 9, Judge.
On a 9 o'clock docket?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll set it on a 9 o'clock docket. Y'all have to check the docket to see exactly what time slot it will be.
So I'm going to be working 3 a.m. Basically till school gets out.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to my mom.
Okay. So it'll be set on a 9 o'clock docket. I don't know whether it'll be first at 9 o'clock or whether it'll be, later in the morning, but you'll be given that link and when to log in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Judge, if I may say, if Ms. Perez can get that paperwork to Mr. Aguilar, he said he needed another copy. So if we can get that paperwork to him for the attorney.
Okay.
I emailed him on the email he provided me this morning, another court-appointed packet. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Mr. Aguilar.
Judge, I'm looking at it and I was thinking today was Thursday. So we're going to have to do the 19th because you'll be in Austin on the 24th. I was looking at the wrong day. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So we will do the 19th then. Okay. So even more importantly, Mr. Aguilar, you need to move quickly and get that to me ASAP so we can look at it and get you in touch with your appointed attorney.
Yes, ma'am. I will do that.
October 19th on the 1 o'clock docket. So Mr. Aguilar, you are excused at this time to answer your question. If you are in contact with the department, they will be, trying to set up visitations.
And if I may say something on that, I've been trying to get in contact with them. I've called them multiple times. I left them emails. My caseworkers are telling me they're doing the same thing. It's not hard to reach me. I'm not hard to find. And I haven't got nothing from them. They're telling me, oh, they're trying to call you. They're trying to do this. But I just need to get a hold of them so I may see my kids. So would it still be possible for me to see them even though I haven't started my treatments yet?
So Ms. Perez, has the department set anything up yet?
The initial 3-day visit is supposed to be coordinated by St. Francis. I provided them with Adam's number at that time. The phone number he had provided at the time of removal was no longer in service. And I provided St. Francis with now his updated phone number this morning when he reached out to me before court.
Okay. So Mr. Aguilar, they've got a new number for you now. I'm sure Mr. Dyer, who is on screen here, will make sure that someone gets in touch with you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir, then you're free to go.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Parents have both agreed to for me to name the department as temporary managing conservator and work services. Is that correct?
That is my understanding, Governor.
Okay. So what issues do we have then? You said both Mr. Jackson and Mr. Nowak maybe had some question or issue.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, sorry. Your Honor, I was going to request visitations on behalf of the mother. She last saw the kids on the 28th, and she was wanting to have visits now. And also, she had asked for her mother, LaShonda Walker, to have an expedited home study on her.
All right. Let me pose this question because I think I read in the affidavit of removal that neither maternal or paternal grandmother were appropriate placements. So I don't know why that statement was out there.
Okay, I read the same thing that you did, Judge, but I don't know what the reasons are. I've spoke with Ms. Walker. She indicated to me that she doesn't have a CPS history or a criminal history, so I don't know what would be inappropriate.
Ms. Perez, do you have an answer on that?
Yes, I do. So at the time of the investigation, when I made initial contact with Lakeisha and her mother at Lakeisha's apartment, her mother had stated that as of October the 1st, she was moving into the same home and residence as Miss Lakeisha. And then after that, after further investigation, we couldn't determine whether or not grandmother was being protective because Lakeisha did admit that she knew Adam was going to be there at Walmart and she did invite Adam over to the residence. So we don't know if grandmother's going to be actually protective or not of keeping the children safe and away from Mr. Aguilar.
If I may, I mean, was there a problem with her moving in with Lakeisha? I don't see the issue.
Well, she was going to be placement of the trooper, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a text from Kendra to Kendra's with CPS. I guess she was the FBSS worker on September 5th. She stated to Lakeisha that the safety plan wasn't legally binding. And then on September the 8th, she reached out to the grandmother and said, I was calling to say the safety plan has been lifted for you. So there wasn't anything in place as far as she knew at that time. And she was talking about moving in on October 1st.
So, all right, well, let's just for clarification. Is maternal grandmother living in the same home with mother?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. They're in separate homes.
And they do not intend to be moving in together?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have a problem with going ahead and doing the home study. You know, if there was some confusion about whether there was no longer a safety plan in place. But let's take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And Judge, I know Mr. Jackson asked for, are we doing expedited or are we doing a regular on this?
He requested an expedited.
10 day good.
Where are children placed right now?
They're in Lubbock.
Are they together?
Yes.
Okay.
Transportation.
All right. Yeah, we can expedite it.
Okay.
And Judge, my client has transportation too in the event that we're able to work out a visit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be St. Dyer, St. Francis will be, now that once we know TOC is going to take effect, and St. Francis will get started on that. Okay. All right, Mr. Jackson, anything else?
No, ma'am, I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Novak?
Yes, Judge. Cameron Shelton is the father of Indiana, and he is a non-offending parent. And so my question to Ms. Perez would be, would he be an appropriate placement for Indiana?
If we were able to complete a home assessment and assess for safety and risk and find it appropriate, then I would now have no concern.
And Judge, I'm not sure if this is when I question Ms. Perez or not, but my questions would be, Mr. Shelton has no prior history of CPS, correct? Ms. Perez?
Correct. It would just, yes, correct. It would just be as far as a parent associated with the case with Ms. Stotts, because he is the father.
So in other words, there's no, you're not claiming that Mr. Shelton is a danger to the health of Indiana, correct?
I mean, I would like to if you could restate that.
Yeah. Did you look at Mr. Shelton as a potential placement for the child for Indiana?
Initially, we tried to get a hold of him, and we did not have a good contact information to consider him for placement at the time of removal.
What about
how quick can we get a home study done to see if he's an appropriate placement?
It would. I mean, the investigations would be more than happy to go to the home, interview him, and complete a home assessment.
And I'm really phrasing my questions quite inartfully, but the issue that I'm seeing is right now that Indiana has been removed from her mom, and mom in divorce had the right to designate. Mr. Shelton was the first, third, and fifth weekend parent. Would you agree with me that he's the most appropriate placement if he passes all the tests?
Yes, we would request that he does a urine or a drug screen just to rule out any illegal substances, and then as well as complete a home assessment with him.
And we're going to ask the court today to order that for Mr. Shelton, just so that we can get those out of the way. Assuming he passes that, is there any evidence that you have that he's not an appropriate placement? He's the dad of Indiana.
No.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Judge. And I know he's probably talking out of turn, but I appreciate it.
Well, I just asked some questions. Okay, so Mr. Shelton, this doesn't require a full-blown home study. So investigations can come out and do what Ms. Perez said. They can do a home assessment. They're going to need some information from you, and they are going to want you to drug test. So, drug tests going to all be negative?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no marijuana?
None.
Okay. And do you have, what's the layout of your home?
I currently live in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. I stay with family of mine for the time being due to some technicalities, but those are being worked out. So I should be in a home within the next of my own. I should be in a home of my own within the next month, 30 days to 60, maybe like something like that.
Okay, so the home you currently live in is this 3-bedroom home, but you share that with some other family members.
Right.
So how many family members?
I stay with my mother, her husband, and my 2 younger siblings. The only other people in the house other than them 3 would be me, my girlfriend that you see to my right, and my youngest daughter of 2 years old, Jadea.
Yeah, that's a lot of folks in a 3-bedroom home.
It seems like a lot, but the 2 living spaces make it manageable, seeing as how we were able to turn one of them into a bedroom for her, specifically for her to have her own space. She'll have her own bed, her own TV. Like, she's all the way set up over here on my end. She's got a bed, she's got food, we've got clothes for her, we've got all of our utilities on. She's completely safe with me.
Okay. You understand if this was going to happen right away, then they would also have to do background checks on your mom, her husband, any other adult in the home. But I think those were the only 2 other adults in the home.
Right.
And to determine whether the child could be placed there now. And then if you moved to a new home, they would need to just take a look at that and make sure that that was all okay.
That's not a problem.
All right. Ms. Perez, let's go ahead and take a look and see if the arrangements are such that it would be appropriate to go ahead and place the child there.
In Your Honor, I know you mentioned his parents being the other adults. He mentioned younger siblings. Are they minors or are they adults also?
My younger brother is, hold on, give me a second. I got to do some calculations on his age. We're 6 years apart, same day, same month. It's a little bit confusing. I'm 22.
He's 16.
He's 6 years younger than me.
16?
16.
I believe he's 16, getting ready to turn 17 on March 7th.
Okay. So is there another?
My younger sister, she just now turned 18, and that's it.
All right, so she would have to be looked at as well. Okay. Okay, well, let's take a look and see. But I will just tell you, I think then Mr. Shelton follow through with trying to get a place of your own. It's just be better that it'd just be better for you all to have a little more space and privacy.
Yes, ma'am. I'm definitely working on it. It's just definitely been a challenge with everything going on right now.
Okay. Mr. Shelton, do you work?
I do. I'm a full-time DoorDash employee. I make about $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
All right. What hours do you work?
I pick my hours. It's a certain feature through the DoorDash app where I'm working that I can dash at any time that I would like to. So I prefer for myself to dash around the time they're in school. That way I can be done around 3. So I'm home, I can go and get them, and I'm with my kids the rest of the day.
Okay.
In the event that I'm not done with my dash, by the time that they're done with school, I can pause my dash for up to 35 minutes to where I can go and pick up my children And then because of what I do, I DoorDash, my girlfriend is usually with me. She'd be watching the kids while I'm still working for the last 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll be at home.
And she's going to have to get through the background check too.
That's not a problem.
If she's living with you and she's going to be a caregiver. So
not a problem.
Okay. I just want to make sure you understand and that all these folks understand they gotta open their doors and their lives and all that.
Everybody on my end is well aware of everything that's going on, and everybody on my end is also willing to back me on anything that I need.
Okay. All right, so we'll take a look at that and then get mom's visits going. Certainly don't have any problem with same with Mr. Shelton. You know, until we can get this stuff resolved, there shouldn't be any issue with him having visits with his daughter. Okay. Ms. Zavala.
Yes, Your Honor. As to my agreement for the TMC, is that?
Yeah, just that and any recommendation or any concerns you have.
Yes, I do believe it's in the kid's best interest. And I'm not opposed to looking at Mr. Shelton. I think that's appropriate. I'm also not opposed to any kind of home study recommended by mother. They are, for a short amount of time, they were placed, the kids were placed far away. They're now back in region. And so hopefully in-person visits should be available.
And Judge, give me 1 second. I got a message real quick. I needed to check on some before I announce it to the court. Judge, I was just informed, and I don't know if Ms. Zavala knows this yet or everybody, but the Aguilar children, it appears that both kids have pneumonia and RSV right now. Indiana is a little sick, but not as bad as the other two. So that may be one reason why visitations are being held off right now until they are better. But it looks like I was just informed that they have pneumonia and RSV.
I had heard the RSV. I know that they had received care for that. So.
All right, but obviously medical care is being attended to.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Could I ask when this was learned that these kids had developed the pneumonia and RSV?
I would either Ms. Zavala or Mr. Dyer may be able to answer that, but I'm not sure. I just learned about that just now.
So I learned about the RSV yesterday, I believe. Kelly's the one that got the information. I hadn't heard pneumonia, but had heard that there was appropriate medical treatment at that time.
Well, the reason I was asking, this is the first that my client had heard of it, and it's kind of rather sad that they're learning about their kids' health in open court for the first time.
Children are at placement, though. They're not hospitalized.
That's my understanding, unless anything has changed today. But yeah, that's my understanding. I can get Kelly to confirm that.
Ms. Perez or Mr. Dyer, any other information about that?
Judge, from what Mr. Dyer just sent me, it was found out yesterday. I'm not sure. I think they tried to call mom's phone, but it was either off or not working, and they weren't able to get through to her. Was what they just told me. And Mr. Dyer may have more on that. So what I'm saying, Judge, Ms. Brown, who's going to be the St. Francis worker, tried to call, but the phone wasn't working. But the kids they're not hospitalized; they're just being treated, and this was just found out yesterday.
Yeah, Kelly just came in and confirmed they went to urgent care yesterday. They were back at the placement home yesterday.
Okay. Okay, so depending on how the kiddos are feeling may affect the, when that first visit can take place, but hopefully they'll rebound pretty quickly.
Judge, my client just did a search of her phone history, and there's no history of a phone call from Ms. Brown.
And she only has one number for me.
Your Honor, if I may, we can have Tiffany Brown on this hearing.
Well, I mean, everybody knows now. I think it would be appropriate to make sure that Ms. Brown has the correct phone number for Mr. Jackson's client. And so, you know, if Ms. Brown attempt to call her right away, that would be very helpful. Same with Mr. Shelton. I don't know if he got a phone call about this or not.
I did not.
Okay.
It was Friday. And really, Indiana is fine. From my understanding, it's the two younger ones that are sick right now.
And Judge, Mr. Jackson, if you would email me her phone number to where I make sure I have it right, I'll send it to my people to make sure they have the correct number.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, we obviously want Ms. Stotts to be kept in the loop about how the children are doing. And for a visit to be set up as soon as, you know, it's practical and possible.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. All right, then. In the Shelton case, then at this time, I will find that the evidence is sufficient to name the department as temporary managing servitor, that the department used reasonable efforts to avoid the removal of the child from the home, but that at this time, it would be a continuing danger to return the child home. Clearly, until we get dad's household checked out, that may change that, but for the moment, then, you know, we don't know about all the individuals living in that home and whether or not it's safe to return the child there or not, but we'll check it out. And obviously we'll expect parents to work with us and work some services as appropriate, but we'll talk more about those at our next hearing, and that'll be the status hearing, and that is scheduled for November 14th of 2023. That'll be on the 9 o'clock docket. So I'll see everybody back then. But Mr. Dyer just stressed, let's keep parents, you know, quickly apprised of any health issues with the kiddos.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I appreciate y'all. And
Judge,
then so I'll see Mr. Jackson. We'll see you back on the 19th, obviously, for the other case.
Yes, ma'am.
And Judge, before we get off real quick, on the expedited home study on grandmother,
yes,
I need to put an order in both cases at this time.
Well, I don't know that we really can in the other case.
Okay, that was kind of my question. I just want to make sure on that.
Which really almost defeats the point of it being expedited.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I want an expedited home study for
we'll do it. Here's they'll only do the expedited home study on Indiana.
Yeah.
Until the department has custody of the other two children,
yep. we
can't go there. So it could probably be amended pretty quickly down the road if we needed to do that.
Let me listen, please.
Judge, if I'm interrupting, I apologize.
What you're saying.
Hang on, too many people talking. Wait.
Sorry.
We got too much background noise, too many people talking. Okay, Mr. Novak.
Yes, Judge. Just to be clear, I mean, Cameron Shelton is a non-offending parent here. And I think I heard that there was going to be a home study done with him.
No, not a home study.
Not a study.
No.
I'm sorry.
It is just a home assessment. It's not a home study.
A placement type. Yeah, gotcha. In terms of visitation, because I know that's going to take more than a couple days. So in terms of visitation, what can we offer, if anything, to Cameron to visit with his daughter, Indiana?
Well, as I said earlier, Mr. Dyer will make sure that the new worker will get him and get that set up.
Excellent.
And hopefully that can happen within just a few days, because she apparently is not affected or is affected by illness. Now, the other thing is I'm going to order Mr. Shelton to go drug screen for us, hair and UA, so that we have covered that base and make sure that that's all good.
And that will be communicated to Mr. Shelton from the caseworker? The drug test, like go drug test. He's going to get a text message.
It's late in the day today. I'm just going to order him to be there before 4 o'clock tomorrow.
And is that at Care Express on South Osage?
Yes.
Cameron, you're hearing all this, right?
I am, and I'll be there at 3:30.
By 4 o'clock tomorrow. If you can be there by 3:30 today, that would probably work as well. But just I think they have to get paperwork through first to make sure that it's all set up.
Yeah.
I will definitely be there tomorrow around 3:30.
All right. Okay, Mr. Dyer, if you just ask Ms. Brown to be sure to get that paperwork in, and then I'll see Mr. Jackson, you and your client back, and basically everybody but Mr. Shelton, I'll see back next Thursday, the 19th.
I'm sorry.
Not you, Cameron. You're good. Cameron, you're good. You're good.
Okay, you got to see Shelton back on the 19th. What I do?
No, you're good. You're good.
Mr. Trout, I sent you my client's phone number via chat.
I got it, Joel. I'll send that to my people.
All right. Thank you all, and that will be it today. We'll adjourn and see y'all next week.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.